Hello, welcome to Lessons from the Dragon's Library. Take 2 today. You guys don't know it, but I recorded this whole show, and I don't know why I do this, but I recorded this whole show and it wasn't, something was wrong, so I have to redo it. I normally do these live, and the reason I'm recording this one is because I thought I might need to do some edits, and I still might need to do some edits, so this is not a live show, which if you guys have watched any of my stuff, you know that I've been doing almost all of my shows live for quite some time. If you do like the shows, you like all the stuff that we do on the channel, or just any of it, or you just want to help the channel, click the subscribe button for me. That's the biggest way to help. But also go check out my channel or my website, trevorbierschbach.com. If you're here, you're probably into writing or interested in writing if this show brought you here. So check out my website. That's where you can find my books, my writing blog, and the things coming up, my projects and whatnot. So today what we're going to be looking at is how to create a cover using Ingram Spark's template, their PDF template, without using an expensive tool, by actually using a free tool. The reason I'm making this video is because I had a hard time. When I did it, I'm like, there has to be a way to do this free. There has to be a way to use a photo editor or some other tool that I already have. I didn't have InDesign. I'm not going to pay for it. I'm not going to pay for any of the other tools that were available in order to create a cover for my book. I just don't have that kind of money. So like, there has to be a way. So I decided to check out GIMP. I've been using GIMP for years to do other things, and bear in mind, I am not an expert at GIMP, Photoshop, or any other kind of photo editor. If you are, you may find easier ways to do this stuff. You already may know that there's faster ways to do some of the things that I'm about to show you, and if that's the case, let me know. Leave a comment. If this was helpful, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you have questions, ask away in the comments. I will do my best to answer them. So we're going to get started. I'm going to show you the finished product, and I'm going to show you from start to finish how to basically create that finished product from the very bare template that Ingram gives you using GIMP. So, and if you hear anything in the background, apologies. My son's out in the living room coughing, apparently. So I don't have some fancy soundproof studio. I wish I did, but I don't have the money for that kind of stuff. So here we go. I'm going to switch over, and then I will show you how to do this from the start. So here is here's GIMP in your interface. Make sure you have the latest version. Older versions of GIMP may be able to do this, but I'm not sure. So I recently downloaded this because I didn't actually have GIMP on my desktop. I did all this on my laptop. So I downloaded it, and the version that's currently on is like 2.1.4 or something like that, whatever it is. Make sure you have that version. So, and make sure you open all of the image files that you're going to need, like headshots, cover images, whatever you're going to use to create your cover. And this is the final product. This is what I created from the final product, and I already found a mistake on it that I think I'm going to have to correct because it's bugging me. I keep seeing it. But we didn't do a very good job of cropping my my goofy looking mug into the image here. So we'll talk about that and how to fix it and stuff, or how to do it right, how I should have done it the first time. So the first thing you're going to have to do is bring that PDF into GIMP, and I didn't do that because I wanted to show you that final step. So we're going to do a file open, and your PDF should be, and this is important, remember this, your PDF is going to be your ISBN number -jacket.pdf. So we're going to go ahead and select that and click open, and you're going to get an option. It's going to ask you if you want to change some stuff. We do not want to change anything. We don't want to touch any of this stuff. We got to leave it the same size. We got to leave it everything the same. So you're going to click import, and as you can see, this template is pretty bare bones. And it assumes that you know a lot, which I didn't know. This is the first time I've ever worked with a cover template. My previous books have all been done through KDP, and they make it super easy. So I've never had to design my own cover. But now that I have, I may actually do this more often than using the template because you have more options. But here the text tells you, if you can't read it on your screen, basically the pink areas are the areas where we can safely put text, images, whatever we're going to do. We can put those in the pink areas. We do not want to have anything important out in the blue areas, especially not in the white areas. Blue is called your bleed area. That is basically the area for anything to overlap. You want to keep your background into this area, but everything else should stay in the pink area. And the white area is the template area. Do not change anything here. Do not move anything. Do not cover over anything. Don't change the size of anything out in the white area. That needs to stay the way it is. And your barcode placement, you can put the barcode anywhere you want on the back cover in the pink area, but it does have to remain the same size. It has to remain against a white background just as you see it. You cannot change that. And then finally, the document size needs to say 24 by 12 or whatever your download is. I'm not entirely certain if different template sizes or trim sizes of your book is going to have a different size template. The key is do not change the document size. You need to keep this the same. So the first thing I would recommend doing is actually getting that UPC, because right now the UPC is part of the template layer, and the layers are going to be important. As you can see on my finished product, I have a lot of layers. We want to retain those. They're going to be very important when we get to finishing and finalizing everything. So to get this on its own layer, it's super easy. We want to take the selection tool, which you can find up here, the rectangle selection tool, or you can find it under your tools, selection tools, rectangle select. Either one works. And we are going to just select the white box. All right. You're going to hit Control X, or you can go up to Edit, hit Cut, but we're going to cut it out. All right. And then we're just going to Control V, paste it back in, which makes it its own layer. Now there may be a faster way to do that. This is the way I found to do it. If you know a faster way to do it, by all means leave a comment. I'll make sure that comment gets highlighted, pushed to the top so people can see it. So now the first thing we want to do is we want to set this as its own layer, to new layer. That way we can now do things with it. We can move it. We could resize it, but I don't want to. It does not say that this has to stay the same size, but I would recommend not messing it with too much because it is a barcode. It needs to be readable. Pardon me. Still fighting off the vestiges of a sinus thing. We have a drink there. All right. So, and we're going to rename this layer because you're going to have a few layers in which you cannot see the image. It's too small. And you want the layer named something that's easily recognizable. And so now if we go to the Move tool, we can actually move this around wherever we want. If you want it over here on your back cover or over here, maybe you want it at the top. I put it right there. I just left it in the middle on mine. I'm not really too concerned about where that goes myself, but you might care. You might have a reason for moving it from one spot to another on the back. Just remember it needs to stay on the back. All right, so now we're going to back up a little bit. And the next thing we need to do is add the other images that we want to be this on the cover, whether it be your headshots, your cover, maybe you have some back art, or you have whatever you have. This is where we're going to mess with that. So I'm going to go to my headshot here and make sure I have all selected. I think by default we have all selected, but I'm not entirely certain. I'm going to Control C that and copy it. I really wish my son wasn't out in the kitchen making something right now, but he is. And we're going to paste it here, which is going to create, again, a new layer. So the first thing I want to do is hit to new layer here to make it its own layer. And as you can see, you can't tell. It just says pasted layer. Now I can barely see a little speck, but you can probably not see it at all in the video. I can almost see there's an image there. So we want to edit the layer properties, and we're going to name it headshot. Okay. And now we want to make sure our move tool is selected and move it about where we want it. In my case, I wanted it there, but it's too big. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get a little closer so I can see what I'm doing here. And I can see the edges of the pink. And I'm going to go to Tools, Transform Tools, and go to Scale. And now you can see I can edit this. Now, I actually want this to stay square. So I'm going to make sure that chain is set, which means it will keep the width and the height relative to each other. It's not going to allow me to drag and change anything. So it's actually going to change the size just a little bit that way. And then if I hit scale, it keeps it. And let's see if that works better. I like that a lot better. All right, so we're going to place that right there. Digging that. Okay, let's back up again. And now we need to bring the other image in here, which is our cover. Edit, select all, and then we're going to hit Control C for copy, and we're going to hit Control V to paste it. Now obviously this one is gigantic, and we're not going to be able to grab the edges and resize it. So the first thing I'm going to do is hit it to new layer, and I want to edit the layer attributes, cover image, and hit OK. And now we want to scale this layer. Now I'm just thinking that my cover size, my trim size is 8.5 by 5.5. So the easiest way to resize this, at least to start with, is to take the width 5.50 and the height 8.50 and hit scale. And this gets it to approximately the size of this area. So now making sure my move tool is selected, which it is, I'm going to drag it over here. Now, so that I can see the edges, I'm going to go in real close. And you can see I've got a little bit of pink here. So I'm going to take my tool again, transform tool, scale. And this time I'm going to break that link because I'm not sure if it's going to be exactly to scale. All right, so I'm going to grab that corner, and I want to make sure that I'm covering up all the pink. All right, now I'm going to go down here, and I'm actually not sure, so I'm going to drag this out. Yep, okay. Should be good. And now over here on the other side, I'm going to drag it back just so see, I think I was over. Whoops. All right, and then we're going to go to the top. The top should be fine. Okay. And then we're going to scale it. All right, so now we have our cover and we have our headshot. And now we have to incorporate our text. This is where things get a little bit tricky, but a lot of it relies entirely on what you're going to do. This is all up to you now. So I'm going to take the text tool and draw myself a text box. Okay, and then here you would choose a font, you would choose a color. I would stay with black for now, and you would choose a size. And I'm going to take it down to about 40. I'm just remembering that around 40 was what I made some of this stuff. And click in the box. And then we're going to type, let's say, whoop. It remembers some things you had. So it's remembering what I had from a previous selection, from a previous run through this. Even after shutting down GIMP, it does remember some of your past selections or settings. So keep that in mind. So we got back cover text, describe the book here. All right, so that's your text. Whatever you want on the back. You can put your synopsis on the back. You can put reviews on the back. Whatever you want on the back, do it in a text box. You can do multiple text boxes. Maybe you want the size of some text to be large. You want the size of other text to be smaller. Do different text boxes. Doesn't matter. This is all entirely up to you. And I'm not going to do all the text boxes because, again, this is going to be whatever you want. Now, keep in mind that it it creates its own layer every time you create a text box, and these layers should be the topmost layers unless you really want your text covered up by other things, which you usually want your text on top of stuff. So then we're going to take another text box and we're going to draw it over here, and let's say make this 50 and cover title. Okay, now in the event you want to change this color of anything, you would just select your text, and you can either click here or you can click over here, and then you get this. You want to pick whatever color you want, and it does remember some of the colors you've used in the past. Click OK. So now that makes it white. So the reason I've left this black for now, because you wouldn't be able to see white against the pink background. So the only other text box that might give you trouble is the spine text. So I'm not going to go through all the other text boxes. So in the spine text, you want it running vertically rather than across, and you want it running vertically the right way. So what you're going to do is once you create your text box, right click in here, and you want to go down and you want to say vertical left to right mixed orientation. Upright orientation would keep the letters upright, which you don't want. You do want them actually running vertically like the spine of a book. So we're going to select that, and then we're going to write spine text, oops, if I could, right, and then use some spaces, author name. Okay, now we can Control A that, select everything, and we're actually going to take that down because see how it's too big? The text is covered. Now keep in mind, whatever you see is what's going to get printed. So if your text boxes, if the borders of your text boxes are covering your text, that text is not going to show in the final print. So you have to be sure everything fits in the text box and becomes visible. All right, so now you got to do all the rest of your text boxes, and you can see, I'll show you on mine. I did my back cover with my synopsis. I did my spine text. Here's my cover. This book actually was a finalist in an award, so I wanted to put the award on the cover. So I just put it here so I don't have to use stickers. You could put other things like available on audiobook, or you could put that over here. I thought about doing that. I decided not to do that with this one. In the event those things change, I don't necessarily want there to be dated material on the cover, on something that's hard for me to edit. So I'm not going to put links or anything that might possibly change. I did put some reviews for Embers of Liberty here, user reviews and Amazon reviews, and my bios right there. And then I put my press name down here. You can do whatever you want, however you want, whatever color you want. It doesn't matter. Now, the final thing that you have to do, or that you need to do, is you need a background. And you've got a lot of options here. So one of the things that I always wanted is I always wanted the color from the cover, one of the colors from the cover, to sort of become the background. So what you could do is get real close if you want to do this. First thing you want to do is add a layer. So we're going to go layer, new layer. And you want to keep it background, that's fine. And you want to fill it with background color. Now, this is remembering my last setting. So I think the layer name is just new layer. You want to set that, and it's going to default to transparency. So set it to background color, which is going to select whatever your background color is up here. Now mine is currently the color that I chose the last time I did this, because remember, GIMP remembers the last thing you did and it keeps a lot of the stuff the same. It's going to default to white for you. So I'll show you how to change the color. You can either pick some random color. Actually, no, you can't use that. Those tag this. You would click OK here and set your background. Now what you want to do is move your background down because it's covering up all the other stuff, right? So move it down, and you can see now that our UPC is on top, our covers are, our images are on top, our text is on top, and the black text doesn't actually work with this. So if you were to need to change the color of text, let's see the spine text. So we're going to select that. Make sure your text tool is selected before you click on the text box. And then click the color here and be like, oh, I want to change it to white. So you can click one of your previously chosen white and hit, one of the mistakes I made. Hit Control A, make sure your text is selected, and select that. Okay. Now you've got it set. And you would do the same thing for here. So Control A, boom, done. So there you go. So now your text is changed to white. You can see above the background, but clearly the background is bad because it's covering up the white template part that we're not allowed to touch, basically. So all you really need to do here is, with your background layer selected, go to your tools, go to your transform tool, and go to scale again. And now you have this. So now we're going to bring it here, And I'm just going to get it close so I can see. And I want to get in closer, right? Because you want to cover up the blue and not the white. So we're going to get it in right close, covering up all the blue. And once you get this corner, the top corner should be good. All right, scale. All right, so now we have our background. We have it whatever color we want. Now let's say you wanted to adjust the background color. You would go here, you would hit this eyedropper tool and choose whatever color you want, or pick any color off of the scale that you want. But if you want to incorporate like I did, you would use the eyedropper and you would grab a color. I would recommend zooming in real close so that you can grab, because as you can see, there are a lot of colors in this road, and I happen to grab one of these sort of navy-ish blue colors from the asphalt here, and that's what became my background. And I actually like it. I think it came out nice. I like the color against the cover. I like that blue versus the gray that I have on the paperback version. I think it matches a lot better with the colors that are going on here. So that's pretty much it. That's how you go from the generic template Ingram sends you to this finalized cover in GIMP without paying for it, without having to buy an expensive application, without having to do anything goofy. That's pretty much it. It's all good. So the last thing you have to do, I should have talked about this, that's not it. The last thing you have to do is you now have to take this and export it. Now I would save before you go anywhere, I would save, because as you can see, GIMP is going to give you a GIMP file, an XCF file, when you just save it. Just click save. With all your layers intact, all of your things. So in case you need to come back and make any edits, you have everything intact, which again, I'm probably going to have to fix. There's a white line right up here that I didn't notice the first time, and I'm going to have to fix that. So I can fix it, because once you export this into a different file type, you're going to lose all your layers. It's going to embed everything. It's going to make everything one file, so you'll have to start over. So to do your export, you're just going to hit File. You're going to hit Export As. Leave the name the same. You need to upload the same file name as you downloaded for Ingram to recognize it. So you would go down here, select File by Type, and go down to the portable document format and hit Export. I would recommend saving this in a different place than you saved the PDF they gave you, because you don't want to lose the original template in case you need to start over, in case you need to do this all again. So you want to keep that. Now, granted, you can still go get it from the email they send you if you kept the email, or you can go re-download a new one. But to save yourself time, I would recommend just don't save over the original. Export this to a totally different folder. And that's it. Once you've exported this PDF, you have it. Then you can look it over. You can actually open it on your computer, use your PDF viewer to double check it, make sure it still looks good. Go back to the original XCF GIMP file, make any changes. If you do make any changes, I would recommend overwriting. This is the only time I recommend overwriting the files, is the exported PDF that you're going to upload. Make sure you only have one of those. What you don't want is if you have a bad one that you correct some mistakes on, you don't want to leave that out there, because you might accidentally upload that one instead of the corrected one. So always overwrite the corrections on your finalized PDF so that you only have one version of your cover final, so that you know that's the right one, because you can't change the file name. You can't name it, jacket.final.pdf or jacket final. You can't change what they give you. It has to be the format they give it to you in. So that's it. That's how to get from A to B in GIMP. using the Ingram Spark template. If this was helpful, please let me know. Make sure you subscribe, leave me a comment, and ask questions. If I did miss something, please ask. Let me know. If there's something I can cover better, or maybe I could do a longer extended video. I'm not sure how I could cover anything differently, but let me know if I missed something and we will go back and take a look at it. So again, thank you very much for joining me. I will see you guys again soon. You have a great one. Much love. Bye.